Hello friends and welcome. How about some joint mobility and just some general waking up the body? That doesn't mean you have to do it first thing in the morning if you've been sitting all day, traveling, just waking up, like whatever that is, right? More waking up and coming back into our body, even if we've been away from it for a little bit. So let's start in an upright posture. We won't be here for real long, but still taking a few moments. Seeing what it feels like when we try to lengthen the spine. Are there parts of it that don't want to or want to be, curved a little extra one way or another, leaning to one side or the other? Noticing if you're holding tension, some of those big spots, I'll call them, are the jaw, the eyes, the shoulders, and the hips. But you may know other areas in your body, or who knows, maybe today it's like, oh, I'm making fists, right? So just notice. The practice is not to judge, right? It's non-judgmental, just simply observing and learning where we're at. Accepting where we're at is part of it as well. And then go ahead and open those eyes. And let's start moving from child's pose. So you can go ahead and you can have those blocks towards the front of your mat. You may or may not want them, but that's where you would want them if you do. And to come into child's pose, if you're already there, I apologize. I wasn't real quick about that. But go ahead and sit on your heels if you can, right? And let your knees separate a little bit till they're about shoulder distance today, so not quite as wide as we sometimes go. And then go ahead and just start to walk your hands forward, one little paw print at a time, lengthening the spine, lengthening the spine, lengthening the spine. And then for head and forearms, come down. And of course, you can support the forehead on something if it doesn't make it all the way down or feels uncomfortable. And just take a few breaths from here. Now coming into that breathing practice. Of course, it's all part of the same body. It's all part of the same practice. But take a few moments with your awareness, your flashlight of focus, right on the breath. I like to remind folks that if there are tight spots, especially in the back side of the body, we have pretty good access to them right now. Every time you inhale, you can try to target an area and expand with the inhale. Now we're going to go ahead and straighten our arms out. And I'd love for you to take your hands as wide as your mat and come up onto your tentopods, right? Your 10 fingers. So my palms are lifted, my forearms and wrists, elbows, etc. Everything is kind of gently lifting as I push my fingers down. That hopefully helps the rest of the arm gently lift up. Soft shoulders, check in there. And just waking up the arms and the shoulder girdle a little bit. And then go ahead and walk your hands back by your knees, push your body up. And bring your knees in Vajrasana. If it's not okay to be on your ankles, you could find another position, or you could take that blanket and roll it up and put it under the ankles. Usually when that position is difficult in the ankles, this will help take any of that pressure out of the front side. If it's a knee situation, sit in a different position. We'll meet you there, yeah? So from that place, whatever you chose, go ahead and bring your forearms together, elbows towards each other. If they can touch, awesome. If they can't, awesome. And you're going to interlace your hands and then go ahead and start to move your knuckles in a figure eight. I often say, and will continue all of my teaching days, move a little on the slower side and bring mindfulness into it, right? So instead of just kind of whooping through and it's like, yeah, okay, right? Taking your time and feeling out whatever those edges are. Maybe there's a catch. Maybe you're noticing every time you go through one spot, like in my wrist, right? I get a little kind of popping thing. Doesn't hurt, but that's okay. Go ahead and go the other way. Again, just trying to be mindful the whole time that we are in our body during this practice. Best we can. That's the practice part. The more we show up and do it, the easier it becomes. And then go ahead and bring those hands down and just take a moment and let the arms take a rest. And next we're going to just go into our a little bit in the elbows. You're going to swing. Hopefully if you're not sitting on your butt, you have enough space, but I'm grazing the floor with my fingers. As long as it doesn't hurt, that's okay. And then the next time you come up, your fingertips are going to come up onto your shoulders, and we're going to start to circle our elbows. So now we're moving into that broader shoulder, upper back land. Whatever size circle works, go ahead and go the other direction. You're not in a rush to get anywhere or to get something done. If this is part of your checklist, I have those days too, just trying to drop into the practice. You're here while you're here, right? And then we're going to circle the elbows, but we're going to do them in different directions. So it's almost like you're doing the backstroke, if you know swimming strokes. And the body will go into a little bit of a twist if that feels okay. And then go the other way. We'll get out of these knees in just a little bit. And then go ahead and bring your arms out. You can have them shoulder height. It's a little more weight. If that feels like that's too much on your shoulder, just bring the hands down a little bit. And you're going to go into external rotation and internal rotation, right? I try to keep my spine pretty still, and I'm going to have that rotation come at my humerus bone, my upper arm bone rotating in the socket. And you're just going as far as you comfortably can without causing pain. And just kind of checking into that. You can always play with, does the right feel the same as the left? Does the right go further one direction, further the other, etc., right? So you can kind of just bring observation skills into this mindfulness. And then give those arms a break. This time you're going to come onto hands and knees. And then remember, you can always do just one limb. We're going to lift opposite limbs in rhythm. If you want to leave an arm or a leg out of it, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, the left arm and the right leg, with an inhale, you're going to lift them up. And exhaling it down. Don't worry too much about form or any of that kind of stuff right now. Just more pushing down into the earth, right arm, left leg, right? And that's your pattern, right? And every inhale, the limb or limbs lift. Every exhale, they come back down. And again, really focusing on whatever's left on the earth and pushing down in order to find that balance to bring the opposite limbs up. And then the next time that you have the left arm and the right leg up, go ahead and keep them up. Rotate your outer upper arm into the face and up, right? Rotate that inner groin up to the sky. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to circle the right knee around. And of course, we're getting in the hip joint. You could bring the left hand down if that feels like too much effort, or weight in the right wrist. Push the right fingertips down more and go the other direction. And just trying to find your balance. Again, left hand can ground if that's better for you. You could put your right forearm down, put those limbs down, and then we'll lift the other limbs, right arm, left leg. Rotate that right outer upper arm, in and up, that left inner groin, and then from there, go ahead and start to take that left knee in a circular motion. Ground right hand if that's better for you. Definitely push into your left fingertips, no matter who you are, and you'll take more of the brunt of the weight out of the wrist. Go ahead and go the opposite direction. Keep that belly toned up for low back protection. And bring that down. And another child's pose here. So you can let those hips sink towards the heels. Let those arms move forward, forehead down, forearms down, and just take a moment and breathe. Pardon me. And go ahead and walk your hands back to your knees. And this time we're going to go into a little breathing pattern where we come up onto hands and knees. And this one goes like this. We've done this many times before. On an inhale, you're going to reach your chest forward. And you can think of your sternum gently pulling away from your pelvis away from the sternum, right? Cow. And then on the exhale, you're going to move back to child's pose. Now go ahead and let your arms move a little forward, your hands, until your arms are stretched out straight, and that's going to be the new hand placement. Inhale up, moving the sternum and the pelvis away from each other. And then exhale, curl the toes under, and move back to downward dog. So that's the pattern. I'll say it again. Pardon me. Inhale, knees down, coming into cow. Exhale back into child's. Inhale up into cow. Exhale back, downward dog. So that is the pattern. Now that you have it down, go ahead and do that a couple more times for yourself, just moving at your own rhythm, your own tempo. Just being inside your body. What's it like to be embodied today at this time? And again, remember, we're going for joint mobility today and just general movement and waking the body up. And so if that is your intention, right, just feeling how you're moving in and out of the joints, and we're moving the joints through motions. The next time you're in downward dog, pause there. We'll meet there. And when you get there, you're going to bend your right knee a little to the right, sway the hips a little to the right, and lengthen through that left side. You'll come back to center. You'll bend the left knee a little to the right and sway the hip to the left. Back to center. And if that one's okay, do that one for yourself on your own rhythm. Find the breath. Inhales will bring you back to your center. Your exhales send the hips off to one side or the other. And back to center. And then from there, bending both the knees, lengthen the spine, push both heels down, and take just a moment in regular old downward dog without any of the extra little additions for a moment. And then we're going to inhale the right leg up into the air, bend the knee, heel to buttocks, and open that right hip up. Keep the ribs pulled back towards the spine. And then come back through a square hip, and you're going to step that right foot forward between your hands. And if you want those blocks, this is where those blocks could come in handy. We're just going to stay in a high lunge. We're not going to do anything too fancy here, right? Trying to bend that right knee, lengthening the spine, pushing the left heel back. Move the blocks if you were working with them and step back to downward dog. Inhale the left leg up, bending the knee, heel to buttocks, opening the hips for a moment, keeping the ribs in. That's something I never ever do unless I ask my body. Come back through square hip, step that left foot forward. Blocks or no blocks, bend that left knee deeply, whatever that is for your body, of course. Right heel back and long spine. How's it feel to be in your body at this moment? Today at this moment, right? Move those blocks if you're working with them. Step back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Bend your knees, grab your elbow points and soften in for a moment. Shaking head or shoulders if that's a helpful tool for you to release any tension in that upper body. Hands on the hips, elbows up, tone that low belly and come all the way up to standing. And bring those arms down by the side. We're going to do one little breathing practice here, right? And it's that one where you kind of hollow out the abdomen. So I'm trying to think of the best view. I think it's probably this way. I'm going to end up in a little squat, and I'm going to talk about it for a second so you don't have to be in it quite yet. My pants are kind of slippery. If you can just grab onto your knees and stay there, that's great. If you need to grab your pants, you can do that too. I'm going to do that today. So it goes something like this. I take an inhale, as I would normally do, and then after I exhale, right, I hold the exhale out, and I'm going to kind of let my belly vacuum up to my spine, yeah? So it looks something like this. And then I'm going to do it again. And I'm either just going to do that 3 times, or for time 2 and 3, I'm going to keep my breath out, but I'm going to let my belly fall back down to the ground and pull back up to my spine and fall back down. So we're kind of giving a massage. I think of this as a massage for our internal organs, right? And that one looks something like this. And then you'll take an inhale when it's right for you. So that's the basis of it. So again, you can maybe just do the one where you just concentrate on leaving the air out and letting the belly come back to the spine, that kind of vacuum, hollowed out feeling. And you can do that 3 times. If you want to play with the movement of the belly for 2 and 3, add that in. Okay, and then you saw me, I forgot to mention it, but you'll kind of tuck your chin in a little bit after the exhale, as you exhale, and keep it in, right? Inhale. And exhale. You don't have to be on my rhythm, right? This next one, if you want to add that movement of the belly, please do. And if you're already done with a third, you can do another or stand up, and I'll meet you there in a second. Come on up to standing. And then we're going to come down through a squat. I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. And I'm going to have my feet, go ahead and take your feet as wide as you need to. If you need to turn your toes out, you turn your toes out. I'm going to stay with my feet pretty forward, but you'll notice my feet are a little wider than my hips. That's my work. That doesn't have to be your work. And then we're just going to bring our arms out in front of us. And when we come down into this squat, right, you're going to try to get your armpits on top of your knees. Ha, 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 ha. You could sit down and just work from here and still be working flexion in your joints, right? So whatever one works for you, go ahead and just pause there for a few moments. Think about a nice long spine. It's going to be a little rounded, and that's okay. You're just lengthening it to whatever it will go to, right, with a gentle effort. Where's the weight in your feet? A lot of us collapse in on the arches and collapse in the knees, so find that middle of the or the balanced equilibrium on the feet, right? Inner and outer edges. And then you're going to come on down. This will be the last piece here in class today. And then we'll take a few moments in stillness. I'm going to rest back into my hands. My feet are a little wider than my hips. And think windshield wiper. It basically is that. We're just in a slightly different position with the upper body lifted. Right? So every exhale, your legs will go one direction or the other. And with every inhale, they'll come up to the center. I find that when I do this, after a few, my butt really moves towards my heels, and so I'll bring myself a little back and go into it again. Now you can stay doing this. The next level of intensity, I'll call it, would be to lift my arms up. I can bring them behind my head or hands at my heart, whatever works for you. And I'm going to try to use a little bit more muscular effort through my abdomen. Right? I got to move my butt back again. Or you could move your feet forward, whatever works for you. And then the last one, and I'm only going to demo this once because I actually have a killer bruise inside my knee, and so I tried to do this morning, and I'm not able to put that much pressure on it. But you might try to rock up. Yeah? And again, I'm just going to do one of those so that I don't continue to bruise my knee, and I'm not putting much pressure on it, so you don't have to lift your knee. I'm doing that for my safety. So whatever of those 3 floats your body's boat today, right? And go ahead and do that. And I'm going to come back to my hands on the floor just to protect that beautiful inner left knee of mine. And go ahead and finish whatever side you started on. Make sure you do that other side as well. And come back to center. And then we're going to come into, if you can, come into kneeling, this time hero's pose. I'm going to suggest a block between the ankles to sit on. If you need a blanket roll underneath your ankles or you need to sit in a different way, you do. It's not a bad thing. It's okay. Hugging those outer ankles gently in. So inner ankles move towards the block. But then also, right, just settling the buttocks bones down into that block. Letting the crown of the head reach up gently. Bring those palms together in front of the heart. Inhale. Exhale, gently bow the head in, taking just a moment of gratitude that you gave yourself the space and the time. Namaste. May all beings everywhere be well.